Today we're going to learn how to make questions in the past simple of the verb to be. We already know how to say positive sentences like I was at home yesterday, she was tired last night, they were at school on Monday. Now we are going to learn how to ask questions and how to give short answers. This is very important because in real conversations we often ask, where were you? Were you happy? Was she at school? First, remember the positive form in the past. I was, you were, he was, she was, it was, we were, they were. To make a question, we change the word order. We put was or were before the subject. So, instead of saying I was at home, we say was I at home. Instead of you were angry, we say were you angry. The structure is very simple, was or were plus subject plus complement. Let's look at more examples. He was on the bus becomes was he on the bus, she was friendly becomes was she friendly, the plane was very big becomes was the plane very big. We were at school becomes were we at school, they were behind the bookshop becomes were they behind the bookshop. As you can see, we only change the order. The verb comes first, then the subject. Now let's talk about short answers. When someone asks a yes or no question with was or were, we usually give a short answer. We do not repeat the full sentence. For example, were you in Madrid? Yes, I was. No, I wasn't. Was she in London? Yes, she was. No, she wasn't. Were they in Rome? Yes, they were. No, they weren't. Notice that in positive short answers we do not use contractions, we say yes, I was, not yes, I was. In negative short answers, contractions are common, no, I wasn't, no, they weren't. We also use these questions to talk about places in the past. For example, were you at the bus station, was he at the airport, were they at the university, was she in the city center, were you at the hospital? These questions are very useful when we talk about yesterday or last week. We often use time expressions like yesterday, last weekend, last night, on Monday, before. For example, where were you last weekend? I was at the park. Where was she yesterday? She was at the office. Now let's look at the question word where. We use where to ask about place or location. The structure in the past is where plus was or were plus subject. For example, where was she yesterday? Where were they last weekend? Where were you on Monday? Where was the bus station? When we answer, we use was or were again. She was at the hospital. They were at the stadium. I was at the zoo. We were at the railway station. Be careful not to confuse present and past. In the present we say, where are you? But in the past we say, where were you? In the present, where is the hotel? In the past, where was the hotel? The change from are is to were or was is very important. Sometimes we also use where with the present simple and the verb do. For example, where do you live? I live in Dublin. Where do you go shopping? I go shopping at the department store. But remember, for the verb to be in the past, we do not use did. We only change the order, was he at school? Not did he was at school. Let's practice with more examples using places vocabulary. Was she at the bus stop? Were they at the factory? Was he at the bar? Were you at the farm? Was the car park near the stadium? Were the children at the playground? Was the castle in the city center? Were you at the airport yesterday? These are simple, but very useful questions. So, let's summarize. To make questions in the past simple of to be, we put was or were before the subject. We answer with short answers, yes, I was, no, I wasn't, yes, they were, no, they weren't. We use where to ask about location. This structure helps us talk about places and situations in the past in a clear and simple way. This grammar is very important at A1 level, because it helps you ask and answer basic questions about yesterday, last week, and other finished times in the past.